guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to get into 4 of the biggest mistakes you can make as you're trying to heal yourself. So before we get into this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, also hit that notification button never to miss the latest updates, and let's get into this video. The first big mistake that you can make is to continue with negative self-talk. And I don't see any growth or any healing that is possible with negative self-talk, because you really are just having this inner argument with yourself or this inner dialogue with yourself that isn't allowing you to see your full potential. It's not allowing you to grow into your full potential because it's limiting how you see yourself. It's not allowing you to believe in yourself. And when it comes to negative self-talk, I do think that it's an unrealistic thing to think that we will never think of negative thoughts, because we do, and it's normal and we're human. But I do think that being able to correct the right ones or correct a negative self-talk that is not helping us grow is the biggest thing. So being able to go throughout life or go throughout our day and recognizing that when one of these thoughts come up, we should correct it, because we are definitely not able to heal our mind when we talk down to ourselves. There's no healing with that. And the more that we tell ourselves that something is impossible, or we're not good enough, or we're not able to do something, the more we're gonna make ourselves believe that very thing. So I do think that there's no healing when it comes to negative self-talk. I don't think that it's realistic to think that there will never be negative self-talk, but being able to recognize it and correct it when it does happen is the biggest step into healing. So the next big mistake that you can make is overanalyzing. And this is something that I'm still working on as well, but I would say that I've definitely gotten better as time has gone on. When it comes to overanalyzing, what we really tend to do is create a false result, or we're telling ourselves something can go wrong, or what happens if this happens, or so what we're really doing is we're creating something that hasn't even happened yet in our minds. And we need to kind of just sit back and let everything just play out, or what my friends always say is go with the flow. And this is something that I'm learning to do as time goes on, instead of just overthinking every single little thing, which is, it's hard for me, I'm gonna be completely honest. But what we really do when we overanalyze is that we're making things worse than what they really are. And when it comes to overthinking or overanalyzing, we have to also understand that our lives are not 100% in our hands. What happens is not always 100% in our control. I do believe that our lives are 100% our responsibility. But when it comes to things happening to you, I do think that that's out of our control. We have no control over what happens to us most of the time, because some things that do happen to us are meant to happen for us. It's meant to come along on our paths here on this earth. So overanalyzing and overthinking, it's just gonna cause more problems. So I would say that there's definitely no healing when we sit there and we overanalyze the situation. The next big mistake that you can make is to entertain any unhealthy patterns, cycles, or relationships. And I say this because when we go back to something like a pattern or a cycle or even a relationship that we're trying to heal from, there's no way that you can heal, because what you're really doing is picking at a wound that hasn't healed. It hasn't even begun to heal, and you just keep picking at it because you keep indulging in something that caused that pain, that caused that wound to be there. So you have to kind of just look at this whole situation and tell yourself, how bad do you want to heal? How bad do you want this growth? Because if you want it as bad as you say you do, then you cannot be entertaining anything that you're trying to heal from. Now let me give you guys an example, and I'm going to talk about an unhealthy cycle and use a common one, which is codependency. Now, if you're trying to heal yourself from being a codependent person, the last thing that you want to do is go ahead and jump into another relationship, or even go back into an old relationship because you haven't even taken the time to heal yourself as a person. You haven't even healed what is causing the problem. And so when we choose to indulge in things that we're trying to heal from, let's say you do hop back into a relationship, another relationship, or you go back to an old relationship, there comes back all of those feelings of fear of rejection or wanting to be somebody's caretaker and then putting your personal needs and wants last. Everything is going to resurface and you are not healing from that. You're not healing when you choose to go back to what you're trying to work on. So I do think that by entertaining unhealthy patterns, cycles, or relationships, that there is no healing when we go back to what we're trying to grow from, what we're trying to heal from, and that this is a big mistake. Now, the last big mistake that you can make is thinking that another person can heal you. And this ties in perfectly with the example of codependency. I do think that by having a good support system around you, a good group of friends around you while you heal is very important, but we cannot mix it up with thinking that another person is able to heal us. I think that a lot of us try to fill these voids within us instead of sitting there and recognizing that there is something missing and being able to heal it on our own. We tend to try and find other people to fill it. And I am such a firm believer that there's no way that anybody can give you that but you. You're the only person that can heal whatever is going on within you. So we have to get rid of this misconception that other people and other circumstances are able to give that to us, because the only person that can give that to us is ourselves. And once you're able to discover this along your journey, you'll realize that everything that you've been looking for, everything that you have been trying to find within everything else outside, you are able to give yourself that. And that is the biggest thing when it comes to healing yourself, is that when you really do heal yourself, along the way, you learn that you're able to nurture yourself. You're able to fill all of those voids within yourself. But it does come with sitting in very uncomfortable situations and being able to recognize, that's the biggest thing, recognize what is this void that I'm trying to fill? What is this problem that I keep having? And a good example when it comes to me is that the problem that I always had was that I always felt like I wasn't enough. I always told myself that when somebody didn't choose me or when somebody left me or whatever the case was, that why wasn't I enough for this person to love me or for that person to choose me? And the truth is that I had to sit there and look back to where this was stemming from, where these feelings were coming from, and it came from my childhood. Now, I'm not saying that I had a horrible childhood. I had a very great childhood. And what a lot of people don't know is that I was adopted by my grandparents. So I was raised with them being my mom and dad. But the feeling of not being enough came from my parents. It came from my biological mother and father, where I never felt like I was enough. Why wasn't I enough for them to raise me? Why wasn't I enough for them to love me? So I looked at that. I had to really sit and think, where the hell was this feeling coming from? And I had to recognize that it had nothing to do with other people. I was definitely trying to find other people to fill that, to validate me, to make me feel like I was enough. But I was never going to get that from other people, because the problem came from me. It came from when I was a child, where I had these feelings of, why wasn't I enough for my parents? Why was I never enough for my mom or my dad? And that's when the true healing began, when I sat there and I recognized these feelings, that nobody else was going to give this to me. So I would say that when you have these voids in your life, or when you have these feelings in your life that you're trying to fix with other people, and I think a lot of us don't want to accept that, but we do that. We try to fix problems and cover them up with other things and other people. So when it comes to healing, you have to just sit in that uncomfortable space and try and figure out where it's coming from. Where is this feeling stemming from? Why do I feel this way? So I hope that you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you guys have any questions or want to make any comments, then please comment down below. Also, before you guys leave, do not forget to like, subscribe. Also, hit that notification button never to miss the latest updates on my videos. And I will see you guys in my next video.